Welcome back, and thanks for joining us. I'm Courtney.
I'm Kenneth.
And this is the From Launch to Legacy podcast, where we talk about everything it takes to start and run a small business. So last time we talked about how to scale your business. There's a 3-part series with lots of extra goodies. And now we're starting a 5-part series on mental health in business. You don't have to be in business to benefit from this series, but it does pertain to business stuff. And
I'd say it applies probably more to entrepreneurs, but like you said, I mean, there's a lot of people that could probably get some good out of this.
Yeah. Okay, so what we're going to be going over today is business cycles. That's first up. Let's talk about something that most people don't talk about, right? That entrepreneurship is emotionally brutal.
Brutal.
Yes. The highs are incredible, especially when it's your business and all of your hopes and dreams are in it, right?
Yep.
But the lows can be crushing.
Yeah, they can be devastating.
So between financial pressure, difficult clients, imposter syndrome, constantly being uncertain, it's easy to wonder if you're cut out for this.
Oh, yeah. And it's easy to get an incorrect or skewed view of whether or not you're cut out for this.
Yes, for sure. For sure. So today we're going to talk about the stages. There's a predictable stage every business goes through, and it goes in this order, but it can kind of go back and forth.
For sure. You usually don't skip over any. Like if you're in 6, you can go to 7 or 5, but you can't go to 4.
Exactly. When I first read this book, it's Predictable Success by Les McCowan. And we were pretty early. I feel like we were like in stage 2, headed for stage 3. Yeah. And I was kind of nervous at first when he first starts breaking down the stages, because it's like, oh, what if I'm not
in the good one?
Yeah. What if I'm in a bad stage or whatever? But I mean, you learn that there's not bad stages.
Yeah.
It's every business goes through these stages. How do you deal with where you're at?
Right. And it's like, I don't want to go to the doctor because I don't want to find out I'm sick. And it's like, it doesn't change the fact that you're sick.
Yep.
Like if you're in a stage where you need to make it a correction or an alteration, not knowing that's not going to help you.
Yes, exactly. Well, let's get into it. So again, this is Les McCowan's framework in the book Predictable Success. Let's start with the beginning. So there's early struggle. Most of the things we've talked about up until probably scaling were early struggle items.
Yeah.
Starting your business, getting in all your paperwork, setting up your accounting, all that stuff.
Everything is new.
Yes. And hard and extreme.
Yeah. In my head, that Ryan Gosling movie, First Man, about Neil Armstrong, I love that movie. But in the very beginning, he's a test pilot, and that's what it feels like. You're like, no one's ever been in this particular machine before, and we don't know what it's going to do, and I'm figuring out as we go. I'm troubleshooting in the air. That's what it feels like.
So he breaks down like the cycles and what like early struggles 1 to 18 months. That doesn't really matter. This isn't a standard overall thing, but if you are doing this as a side hustle or you have a full-time job plus this, the months, years, those are all, they're very dependent on variables, right?
Right. These are averages, but the spectrum on which is very wide. You could be out of early struggle in 1 to 3 months, or it could be 3 years, depending on, like you said, how often you're in it and what your business is.
Yep. So characteristics of early struggle, like we already said, everything is hard, right?
Everything is hard.
The learning curve is steep.
Yes.
Income is inconsistent. And you and a very small team do everything.
Yeah, and information is everywhere, and most of it's bad.
Yes, which is why you're listening to this.
Yes, and why we made it.
Yeah, because we couldn't find what we needed.
Nope.
All right, so mental health. You're probably struggling with self-doubt.
Oh, yeah.
Financial stress, isolation, exhaustion. If those feel like what is happening to you, you are probably in early struggle.
Yep.
And so some strategies to survive this is to focus on learning, control your expenses, celebrate wins, and hopefully maintain other income. We never suggest that you both quit your jobs and jump in. We did that.
Yep.
It was a lot scarier than it had to be.
Yep.
It worked for us. That does not mean it will work for you.
Yeah, we were definitely the exception, not the rule.
Yeah, and it was terrifying. So I don't suggest it.
I probably lost a few years
Yeah.
at the end of my life there.
Yes. Okay, so how to reframe your thoughts on that is you're not failing, you're learning, and this is temporary and totally normal.
100% normal. Because the one word that I think hit me the most of things that were happening in your mental health was like isolation.
Yeah.
You're not alone.
Yeah.
You're probably in the biggest group of business owners if you're here.
Yeah.
So we're probably going to get into this later, but like we have social media now, and that causes so much
Yep.
There's like a dysmorphia of our self-image, I guess, because we're looking at everyone else's perfect and what they're presenting, and we often compare ourselves to that. So just know that you're not alone, and this is there's a big crowd of good people in here.
Yep. All right, second stage, fun stage. This is what it says exactly, right? It's fun. The systems that you've put in place are starting to work. Your first clients are referring you. You have consistent customers coming in.
Yep.
Your workload feels manageable. I mean, you may be feeling a little stressed, but you're having a great time.
Because the stress you're having now is maybe you're trying to figure out how to handle the work, which feels like a much better problem than trying to find the work.
Yes. So this is when your business finally starts to feel real to you. So some mental health things to look for here are overconfidence.
Yep.
Right? You're like, I've made it.
Yeah.
This is it. Taking on too much. You're saying yes to everything that comes through the door because most of the time you had to do that in early struggle.
Right. You haven't outgrown that habit yet.
Yep. You may be neglecting systems. Hopefully you did put some systems in place. If you are in this stage and you have no systems, go back and listen to some of the other
Absolutely.
episodes.
Start getting those in place now, because it's not going to get easier without them.
Yep. A common trap here is that you say yes to everything, especially because each new client is a dopamine hit.
Oh, for sure.
You are so excited and it feels real, and you're a business owner and you're like, I can do that. I can do anything.
Right.
So something to help you when you're in this stage, to kind of ground you, is to document what's working. We talked about that in scaling, how to easily do your SOPs, your standard operating procedures, how to write those down when you have time, not when you're trying to train someone.
Right. Or when you're trying to delegate all this work you've taken on and trying to find time for it. This is not the time to be writing down processes, because it's gonna make you more frustrated, and that's not good.
Another thing is to pace yourself and to try to build in cash reserves. If you're hitting this first influx, it's almost never steady. Almost every business has, what we call false start.
Yes.
So they get the influx and then they realize, okay, I didn't build this to scale, and I've got to back up and work through some things. So you're in this stage, you're having fun, you've got your clients, and it feels great, right?
Yep.
And then you realize, okay, well, I'm missing my kids' games because I'm having to take calls in the car.
Yep.
Or I haven't gotten home before 9 p.m.
Yep.
Because you're moving into whitewater.
Yep.
So this is stage 3. Usually this is 2 to 4 years in, but like we said, it depends on your business, how much time and effort you're putting into it, how big your team is. So don't really worry about that. But the characteristics of whitewater are rapid growth.
Yeah.
So there are so many people coming in, you cannot keep up with it.
Yep.
Your resources are stretched. You are overwhelmed. And your processes and things that worked before are starting to break.
Right, because they weren't made for the scale.
Right. Some symptoms are constant fires.
Yep.
We talk about that all the time. Let me put out these fires, right?
Yep.
Fatigue and frustration. You're starting to hate going into the office.
Yep.
Or you're starting to dread getting out of bed in the morning. Because you're in it, right? You're in the rapids.
Yeah. Or you're starting to look forward to the weekend. Like even you don't have to go into work, but you know on the weekend no one's calling.
Yes.
No, you're not going to get any emails.
Yep.
And you're like, and this is where that isolation can start to come in, right? You kind of self-isolate because you're so overstimulated that you're trying to get rid of all stimulation when you can.
Yep. Mental health concerns here are burnout, which we will go into extensively in episode 21. Quality issues, you're just trying to pump it out as fast as possible. And decision fatigue.
Oh, yeah, this is real.
Yeah. I mean, you can get this in your regular life without business or being in a high stakes job. But when all of the decisions are your decisions,
the small decisions become like there's been times where we've gotten home and it's like, what do you want for dinner? And it's like, I don't want to make that decision.
Yeah, I'd rather starve to death.
Right. I can't decide one more thing today. And there's a reason that, it sounds kind of silly and a little, eccentric that people like Steve Jobs and stuff, and I think Mark Zuckerberg, they just have the same outfits. They don't choose, and it sounds kind of silly, and it's like, how much time is that saving? It's not saving you time, it's saving you mental effort. They're trying to just remove decisions because they know I'm the CEO, I'm the owner. When I get in here, it's going to be hard decision. And if I can eliminate any of that, because you really do kind of have a certain number of not number of decisions, but like you got a big decision that takes 20 points. You got like 100 decision points a day or whatever, and you can run out quick.
When you were talking about the outfits, right? Steve Jobs and stuff. I mean, I love that we have branded material. I never think about what I'm going to wear to work.
No.
And as a female entrepreneur, people care what you look like.
Yes.
And so one of the things that when I was in cosmetology back in high school, I mean, our teacher just embedded this in our brains, right? You dress for the job that you want, not the job that you have.
Yeah.
So being top of a business, you should dress nice every day. But me in jeans and my branded material looks just as nice as me in a dress.
Right. And you need to be dressed appropriately for your clientele.
Right.
So we work with, we have kind of a focused niche in construction companies. If I'm wearing a suit everywhere, a lot of these guys are not going to talk to me. So I wear boots and jeans and a polo tucked in, and I look like them. I look like someone, that's how, the foreman's going to be in a branded polo or button down, Wrangler work shirt or whatever, some jeans, some work boots. But he's dressed nice. That's for that job. And so you don't want to dress for an audience that is not your audience.
Yeah. All right. So in Whitewater, some ways that you can navigate, some strategies for that are to prioritize ruthlessly. That is hard. We probably will develop some frameworks on that can help you guys out, but making sure that you're handling the most important things, because you can get one of Kenneth saying in the weeds, so prioritize ruthlessly, build systems, delegate or hire out when you can. Those things will help you get through that. A quick way to reframe is growth problems are good problems, but they are still problems. So you want to make sure that you're getting ahead of these things if you can. All right, step number 4. This one is usually 3 to 7 years. I mean, you hear that number everywhere. Like if you make it 3 years, you're usually going to make it or whatever. So this is predictable success. This is the goal. This is where you want to be. It's where predictable input equals predictable output, right? You do this certain work or create this certain cup and your clients are happy and you have predictable cash flow.
Yeah, you know about how much work's going to come in, what volume, what type, all that.
Some characteristics of this stage are stable systems, consistent profits, your operations are in a manageable state. And here you want to maintain your momentum, right? Continue innovating so that you stay stable, right? You want to add in new things that you vetted.
Right.
This is where you want to be. But there are drawbacks, right? Some of the things to look out for are complacency.
Right.
Everybody kind of gets in a routine. Boredom.
Right.
Loss of excitement. You've done all the entrepreneurial stuff. You've gotten, you've made this company, and now you're just kind of coasting.
Right. It feels like a job again.
So you just want to look out for those things. So you want to innovate carefully, focus on efficiency, and plan for the next level in your business, whatever that looks like to you.
I think that's one of the most important parts of this stage. Because everything's working, right? And so you're not trying to change anything or because everything's working, but nothing happens in a vacuum, and the environment, the economy, whatever will change. And if you're not adapting, you're going to wind up back in one of these other stages.
Yep. Okay. So a quick reframe is that not that you're bored, right? It's that you're stable and you have time to start strategically thinking and planning, and that you have some freedom and some peace. If you are at a place where you're like, I'm kind of bored in my company, okay, how can you take it up? How can you kick it up a notch? What can you do? How can you get other people involved and excited so that it builds on your excitement?
Because if not, like you said, complacency sets in, and that'll get you.
And that is what sends you into stage 5, which is treadmill. Usually 5 to 10 years in business, that's when this will set in. I would say almost every business goes to treadmill. It's your decision how long you stay there, right? So the business runs itself. You kind of feel disconnected. The profits are the same. You hit predictable success. You do the work, the money comes in. But it's just kind of staying there. There's no advancement.
Right.
You're just on a treadmill, right? You're just doing the same thing
over and over.
You some mental health things to look out for are loss of purpose, feeling trapped. Like, I started this business. I thought it was going to change my life, and now I feel the same than before, right? So some revival instead of survival strategies are reconnect with your purpose. Always revisit your why. Why are you doing this? And then see if you can come up with some new things to kind of rejuvenate that.
I feel like you should never really be bored as a business owner. Like if you're starting to get bored, it's time to, like you just said, move into something new, scale something, but you got to get out from where you're at right now.
Because it leads to the rest of these, right? Treadmill leads in. I mean, each stage leads.
Right.
So if you're in predictable success and you're not paying attention, you'll move into treadmill. And
if you stay on that treadmill.
So a quick reframe for treadmill is to evolve your role and vision. That's what you just said, right? Find a new way to look at things, and then you can move back into predictable success. I would say if you're on a great train, you're going through the stages, you hit treadmill, and then you go back to predictable success. Okay. If you don't do anything when you've hit this, then next is stage 6. This is the big rut. Characteristics of this one are declining performance, outdated systems, loss of competitive edge. Okay, this is a warning zone. You do not want to be here.
Right.
If you are here, you can move back, but you need to be on alert.
For sure.
So, mental challenges here are depression, right? Your business is not doing well. Blame. You're blaming yourself. You're blaming the clients. You're blaming your team. There's a resistance to change. Like, it worked before, so we just have to push harder and it'll work again.
Exactly.
Some recovery strategies are to do an overhaul. New leadership, whether that is getting consulting help to come in and change perspective, or to hire someone to come in. Possibly you can do a significant investment, but be careful, right? You don't want to put in this significant investment and it be too late.
Right.
So your quick reframe here is you have to change or you're going to decline. You can't stand still here. You have to be the force that changes.
Yep. And like you said on that significant investment, you know, if all the processes that you had have stopped working, before you invest, you need to make sure that, I mean, you can never be sure that it's going to work, but don't just double down on what's not working right now. It needs to be a change. It needs to be an upgrade. It needs to be an improvement, a pivot, something, but you can't just throw more money at the same thing and it's not going to fix anything.
Right. Exactly. Now that may be, like we said, hiring and consulting, hiring in new leadership, adding in
a new product line,
a new product, a new service, a huge pivot. And there's some tips that are going to be in all of these episodes that will help you.
Yep.
So if you're here, and it's not the end of the world.
Nope.
Just keep listening and see if you can figure out what you need to do for you. And if you can't, give us a call.
Yep.
You can book an appointment at www.havensconsulting.com. Okay, stage 7. So this is the end of the road. This is the death rattle. When I first heard that, I was like, that's pretty graphic.
Yep.
But it's pretty true.
Yep.
So this is a serious decline, cash flow problems. You've lost a lot of customers. This isn't seasonal. This isn't, steady turnover. This is a huge loss.
Right.
The mental challenges for this one are desperation. You're feeling desperate. You could be in denial.
Oh, yeah.
You can have fear of failure. If you have fear of failure, that does not, I put my hands up, that does not mean that you are in death rattle. We will talk about fear of failure, but it is one of the symptoms of it.
You will be experiencing that
for sure
if you're in the death rattle.
Yes. Okay. Reality check here. Few recover from this stage. This is pretty bad. Sometimes closing or rebuilding is the healthiest choice. That is going to be a seriously hard choice. But sometimes that's what's best. Sometimes a pivot or a rebrand or outside source is not going to help. You just have to close and do something else.
Right.
Maybe you have to go back to work for a little while and then try again. I have some stats. I know you're going to love that. I think it's in episode 18 on business success and stuff. And most businesses fail. First business. Yeah. So if you're here, that's okay. That's all right. That's most people. You have a better chance if it's your second business of succeeding.
Yep.
So, okay. Some options here are a dramatic restructure. That probably means putting someone else at the top of the food chain, at least for a little while, maybe a fractional CEO or something like that, sale or closing the business down. So I mean, really the only way to reframe death rattle is to know that stopping is sometimes the best decision.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean that you have failed as a business owner. It just means that you have to do something else.
Yep. And, there's also a fear, and I don't want to discourage anyone or, take anyone out of the entrepreneurial game here, but there's a lot of people that they give it a shot and they realize this is not for them.
Yes.
And they're worried about, well, what's it going to look like if I try and go back into the workforce? It's going to look really good, actually.
Yeah.
Your experiences are going to be a huge asset.
Yeah.
So getting back into the workforce, you're going to have a perspective that not a lot of other candidates are going to have. Management's going to know that you are going to understand what they're going through. They know you're going to understand a lot of the, why are we doing this? And it's like, well, you're probably doing that because X, Y, Z. Because if you haven't been at the back end and ran that, there's some, decisions can maybe, if they're not communicated clearly, which you should, as a leader, the why behind your decision should be communicated, because it's a lot easier for people to get on board. But sometimes that's not. And so if you have, you've gotten out and you're like, should I start again? It depends. It depends on your personality. And if being an entrepreneur is not for you, there's, what they call an intrapreneur.
Yeah.
And these are people that they think innovatively like entrepreneurs, but they don't want the risk of being an entrepreneur, so they can go into a company and approach things not like a normal employee would. So there's a lot of avenues here. Don't get discouraged.
Yeah, and it's important to remember that grief and relief can coexist, right?
Oh, yeah.
You can be so upset that this business did not work, and also so relieved that you don't have to keep doing this every day. I mean, the two things can be true at one time.
Two things can be true at one time.
That is, Courtney goes to therapy, and that is one of her number one topics.
Kenneth goes to therapy too, and that's definitely a topic we're working on right now.
All right. So if you are looking or listening, I guess, or watching.
You could be watching.
That's true. And you are not sure which stage you're in, or you're in the car and you kind of have an idea, but you want some more information. There is a business stage self-assessment worksheet on our website, and it helps you to identify your current stage, tells you what it feels like, the biggest risks and key priorities. And I want everybody to remember that you can go back and forth between these.
You probably will.
Yeah, absolutely. Like we said, the fun stage, usually that there's a false start.
Yeah.
So you have a fun stage, then you go back into early struggle. Then you may go through fun stage again and then hit white water. And then you may go back into fun and white water and then into predictable success. Okay, these are the cycles, but they are not linear.
No.
And if that was interesting and you want to read the book, I think it's great. Les McCowan's Predictable Success. All right, segment 2, mindset.
Before we get there, I want to say one thing is that monitor your finances, revisit your systems, look at these things. You don't have to look at them every day, every week, every month, but you'll know which things need to be. Some things once a year, some things every day.
Yeah.
Depending on where it falls. But there is nothing in your business that if it isn't being deliberately guided and monitored, that will just accidentally do something good. It will, every process, every activity, every asset in your business is a small toddler. And if you are not actively parenting that thing, or someone isn't, it's going to go getting the fingernail polish and paint the walls, and it's going to go crazy. So you need to be paying attention, and that go back and listen to our SOPs episode. We talk about when you're in the early stage, when you're in stage 1, when you're in stage 2. These are great times. It seems boring, and you're not going to be super confident because you don't know exactly what your process should look like. Write down what you did.
Yeah.
Just write that process down. That process might suck, but write it down and improve it gradually, one step at a time. Because if you, like I said, if you're not watching these things, if you're not keeping up with your books, and there's businesses out there, we worked with, they haven't reconciled a financial statement in 5 years. I'm like, I don't know how you're even managing cash.
Because they're in whitewater, probably.
Some of them are death rattle. I mean, it's my granddad used to, running the business out of their back pocket, right? It's just, I know how much cash I've got, but you can't make an educated decision about asset investment or is this line of business actually making money? I don't know how many times I've worked in a company and someone has just talked about how amazing this product is, and everyone's going to need it. Not just want it, need it. Necessity doesn't make something profitable.
Right.
Or even high usage. I think I've used this example before. Air travel. Airlines are some of the most difficult businesses to keep afloat. Doesn't matter that everyone uses them constantly every day. It's just a hard industry. So necessity does not equate profitability.
Yes. Okay, so mindset shifts. Okay, so as your business grows, your mindset should grow. As your life grows, as you grow, your mindset should grow. I mean, my mindset 3 years ago is nothing like it is today. So just a note from me, you should always be changing. So some things that worked early that that you need to shift on are, so like when you were a startup, your mindset was, I'll just figure it out.
For sure.
I mean, everything that we did in the beginning was all figure it out, right?
Because you don't even know what problem's coming next. And when it comes, it's now.
Yeah.
And so you need a solution that will work at least for 5 minutes so I can deal with this other fire.
Yes, yes. So as you're getting more established, your mindset should be, let me research this, right? Let me look into this and plan for contingencies.
And we'll talk about this later. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt there.
That's okay.
There's not really an extreme that's ever good in business. That you want balance, kind of center. So you don't want to just shoot from the hip constantly, but you can get analysis paralysis real easy, and just you can plan, and never execute, and that'll kill you just as easily.
So the next thing we have up is decision making. So in the beginning, you are fast decisions, adjust quickly. That's like the tech thing, right? Move fast and break things. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
So not great in most business cases, right?
Yeah.
So of course that's in the beginning, fast decisions, adjust quickly, right?
It's also easier because generally you have fewer assets, fewer employees, everything's smaller, the scale of your clients are smaller. So making a quick decision and pivoting quickly usually has a much smaller effect than if you're 3, 5, 10 years down.
Yep. So established business, you should be thoughtful, data-driven decisions, consider the long-term impact. But you, like Kenneth just said, you want to make sure you're not doing analysis paralysis. 80, 90%, and then just go for it, right?
Yeah, because you'll never get it. You'll be hard pressed to have over 80% of your planned. You will never have over 90.
Yeah.
Not until it starts, because you've got to. You don't know what you don't know yet, and or even if you have known variables, you don't know what algebraically the value of those variables are. You don't know. I know I've got to look out for competitors, but if I don't know how much market share and whatever those competitors, you've got to get a handle on data and make it reliable and make it consistently available.
So your resources in the beginning usually are bootstrapped, like we said a minute ago, out of your back pocket, right? Everything comes from you.
Right.
So as you get more established, you want to invest strategically, We talked about this a lot in scaling, right? Making sure that your growth is efficient, and you're not just throwing money.
Yeah, it's like you said earlier, what's going to work in the long term, but doable in the short term. That's the part. Oftentimes in business, you're either at a stage of not a great capital, so it's what can I do right now, or you're thinking, or all your plans are, this would really work long term, but I can't do it right now. And you're like, there's no viable solution here. There is. This is your job as a business owner. You are the puzzle solver. That is your number one job. You are a fireman and a puzzle solver, because you just have to deal with the issues. You've got to come up with the creative solutions. So what we try and instill here is the correct framework, because there's no cookie cutter solution. I could look at two companies that do the exact same thing. They're the same size. They're in the same geographic area. And I can finish up a consulting job at one and go to the other. And I'm going to start from square one, because this is not the same company.
Right.
They've got different managers. They've got different employees. They've got a different culture. So figuring out what you can do, even if that short-term solution is to get you to a medium term where you can now use that as a short term for a good long term.
Okay. You
may have to stage that, but what can you do in the short term that has the highest benefit in the long term?
Okay. So team, in your team mindsets from the beginning, or I can do everything myself, usually because you're the only one. And an established business wants more document, delegate, develop others, right?
Yes.
The 3 Ds. Document everything that you can as early as you can. Delegate what you can, which we talked about in scaling. If you're wondering about delegation, there's a framework there for how to start delegating, and develop others. Your employees are your greatest asset,
and usually your biggest untapped one.
Yeah.
Because we've all said it, I don't have time to train. It's quicker if I do it myself.
Today.
Right.
Only today.
Yeah, that's, talking about technology companies again, there's a thing called technical debt. I'll clean up this code to make it easier later. Well, you're borrowing from future productivity to get things done now faster, but you don't ever borrow any without paying interest. And so it's going to cost you more in the long run.
So our last example of mindset shifts are your customers, right? In the beginning, you say yes to every opportunity. As you become more established, you want clients that align with your strengths and values, and I cannot stress that enough.
This is probably, I would say, the most important one on this list.
Who you work with defines everything about your business. You can have a great business and great frameworks and great people, but if your clients are horrible,
and they're out there,
they absolutely are, and you, especially if this is your first business, you're not going to be able to tell them from the ones that are just a little confident or cocky,
right, or quirky. And there's you learn pretty quick what those red flags are. And I don't think we worked with a client in the last 2 years that I didn't have a pretty good idea of what the experience for us was going to be like as the contractor.
But the first year
it
was no way to know.
No, and we'll tell some stories, and we'll use alternate names to protect the guilty or innocent. And I mean, you just don't know. And like you said, it's say yes to everything, because you've got to. You don't have any other option. In the beginning, like I took on jobs that I hadn't done before. Like directly, I had experience in the area. I didn't take on HR roles. I don't know anything about HR. But I took on everything that was coming at us, and I was having to learn new things. And we didn't have good systems set up. This is a lesson that you're learn from our mistakes. We didn't have good systems set up, and
we are system people,
right?
you don't know what systems in the early struggle
Yes.
phase.
And we've said this, we got into this because we have worked in businesses, and both of us always wound up being I've got to solve the problems here.
Yeah.
This is what the role that we get guided into.
Yeah.
And we were like, we can do this ourselves. And it's different when you're the whole thing.
Yeah.
So it can get overwhelming. It doesn't matter if you're a good systems person. It doesn't matter if you're good with money. It doesn't matter if you're very organized. All these things can go the opposite direction when you're an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And so we had all this work. I was not super confident in my ability. That was a skewed self-perception.
That we are going to talk about next episode.
Yep. And it got to the point where I had to build up to open emails and read emails from clients, which were almost never bad. But I was assuming that the client was going to address the situation the way as if I was the least qualified person to do this job on the planet, and they knew it.
Yeah.
But I'm still know way more than the client, and I knew enough to do the job well.
Yeah.
Am I the best on the planet? No, but I don't have to be.
Right.
There's only one of those out of 8 billion, So kind of, and again, we'll talk about this in a later episode, but I got to a point where it was hours to read an email. I had such bad anxiety. So it's the mental health struggle as an entrepreneur is real, and it's got to be actively managed and maintained.
Yes.
Because if it's not, it's like any other part of your business. If you don't guide it and maintain it and monitor it, it will go buck wild on you.
Yes, for sure. And we are going to go over imposter syndrome, fear of failure, how to know you're facing those situations, what to do when you're facing those situations. So please keep listening. I put my heart and soul into this for you guys, and
She's worked very hard over the last few weeks.
And I hope you guys love it. So, segment number 3. Sources of inspiration and guidance. So we'll kind of go on a lighter side, right? We'll start off with saying that isolation amplifies stress.
Oh, yeah.
Which is counterintuitive. When I'm stressed out, I have a need to be alone and figure out the problem myself.
And I think that's because with you and I, a lot of our problems come from there's too much input. There's too many decisions. And so inserting more people and more interactions and more, it feels like a death sentence.
Yeah.
So pulling back and kind of going into the quiet place where I don't have to, and I can reassess and clear my mind. And I think that's kind of our personality.
But that is not
good.
What you should do.
No, not at all.
You need to talk to someone.
Yeah. If your first instinct on how to deal with an issue, social, psychological, it's usually not good. It's your body is making a decision for short-term survivability.
Yeah.
That's what's built in biologically, but that's not a long-term social or economic solution. And it's usually probably the worst thing you can be doing. Because again, your body cuts off blood flow to an amputated arm. That's not healthy for you.
Yeah.
It's just keeping you alive.
Yeah. Okay. So some ways to get some outside help. There's professional sources, paid or unpaid. There's industry mentors. There is a resource, should already be on the website, that has these resources, more resources, free resources for business owners. So if you need some help, please just go look at it, download it, keep it, in your desk or whatever. It has help for you. So industry mentors, people who have been through this before.
Right.
There's business coaches and consultants. They can provide some accountability to if you're an avoider.
Yep.
Or some strategic insight, kind of this is what to do next.
Yep.
And if you're working with one of these people, be choosy, but tell them, I'm in a bad spot right now, and I need you. Here's the situation. Can you tell me just one thing to do? And just start there. Let them know I can't take the whole framework.
Right.
I need one step.
Yes. But what you said, be honest. There's, it's very easy to get embarrassed about this stuff.
Yes.
Because so much of and we'll talk about this, so much of our self-worth is tied up. We'll talk about that in a later episode. In this business that we've, it's consuming our life right now, right? Because you started this business, and it's you've got to put so much into it. But if you go to the doctor and you don't tell them what your real symptoms are, you can't get real help. Lying to the people that are trying to help you is not a solution.
Yeah.
That's your ego and that's your pride.
Yeah.
And that doesn't make you a bad person. That's real. We all have it.
Yeah.
It is very uncomfortable for us to admit, hey, I don't think I have my crap together.
Yeah, I need help.
And
hey, we all need help.
oh yeah.
Every business owner out there needs help. And if they tell you that they didn't have help, they are lying to your face.
Right. No one just in a vacuum did this by themselves and with no guidance,
That's right.
no outside information, no help, no emotional support. It's just, even robots need maintenance,
That's right.
So just be honest with whoever you're seeking help from. And what you'll find is probably a lot of empathy.
Yeah.
There's not going to be the judgment that I think we're afraid of.
Yeah.
And this ties a lot into imposter syndrome, which we'll talk about, I think, in
next episode.
It's so important to just be honest. And you may have to have a little sit down with yourself first.
Yeah.
Before you talk to someone else and, kind of really think through, all right, what am I feeling? Because a lot of times, I know with me, like anger, that can be an initial emotion, but that's really a lot of times it's fear of uncertainty.
Yeah.
That's where that really comes from. So you've got your primary emotions, you've got your secondary, and a lot of times the secondary is what comes out, but you need to figure out what's really going on.
The root cause.
Yeah.
Which you can use the assessment, the stress assessment.
Yep.
That's online to help you if you're having trouble figuring out what the root problem
And
is.
again, if you're having emotional or psychological issues, there's help out there, and there's resources, and there's financial help. It's out there, and I think Courtney's done a pretty good job of trying to get as much of those resources available to you on the website. But just know you're not alone. Struggling in self-doubt is not.
We all go through it.
Yeah, you're not bad. You don't suck. You're a good business owner.
Yeah. Okay, so on professional resources, the other ones that we have listed are some peer groups, other business owners facing similar challenges, and professional associations, networking groups. But like I said, on the website, there's a sustainable success action plan and support network guide that has a lot more information on those items. You also need personal support. Family members that understand, friends that can give you perspective outside of your business, especially if you're like us and you are a family business. We're all in it. Our family can't give us outside perspective.
Right.
We're all up in here all the time. Spiritual or faith-based guidance, books, podcasts, it can't just be all work all the time.
No, just be vigilant about what you're consuming as far as support. If it's making you feel worse, it's bad.
Yes.
If it makes you feel like there's some sort of magic pill that you can just this one thing and it will solve all your problems, that's a scam, and that's also bad. If it's someone saying, hey, you know what, life sucks and it's hard, and here's a way you can kind of grind your way through it, and here's some tools, that's probably what you want to listen to. But there's no quick fixes, there's no magic pills, there's no get rich quick schemes. and there's no reason to feel bad about yourself.
That's right. That's absolutely right. The last thing that we're going to talk about before we start wrapping up is the value of continuous learning. I think if you're an entrepreneur, you're probably already a perpetual student. You love learning new things anyway. If not, you better get into it.
Yeah. And if you want to know if you are, if you hear a word or a phrase or a concept and you don't know what it is and you don't have the urge to immediately go look at the Wikipedia page,
yes,
you may not be a perpetual learner.
Yes.
I don't know how many times we've said this. It blows my mind that people cannot know things.
I know.
They can know that they don't know things. There's tons of things I don't know. I just don't know. I don't know. You know?
Yeah. If I hear something, my immediate thought is Google it.
Right.
I mean,
immediately. I have a curse. There's not a topic that I've heard probably that I don't have some cursory knowledge of it. I've got a cursory knowledge of quantum computing. I can't tell you anything about it, but it's not words that I'm like, I have no idea what's happening there. You know, I know a little tiny bit because I can't know. It blows my mind. But we know a lot of people that you talk to them, they're like, I don't know. And just kind of go forward and you're like, what is happening?
Yeah. I don't know. ... What? No ...
Nope.
Just let me Google it.
Yeah. I have to go. I don't know. It's like a compulsion. I can't just. We say this. I can't let you be sitting there like some kind of dum-dum.
Yes. One of our marriage phrases is, "You gonna let me walk around like some kind of idiot?" Yeah.
If one of us learns something, we have to tell the other one like immediately.
Yes.
Random stuff.
Oh, for sure. Okay. Other ways to work on continuous learning is stay current on your industry trends and best practices. Invest in your own development through courses, conferences, and training. Learn from both successes and failures, yours and others.
Yes.
Learn from us. I've put months and months of work and research into this podcast and all the resources that are on the website. Use them. They're free.
Yes.
You don't have to wonder how to set pricing.
Right.
I'll tell you.
Yeah.
And there's definitely more information than what I have, but I promise you it's a great place to start.
Yeah. And the learn from others. That's,
yes.
I mean, also don't try and emulate success.
Yeah.
It's not what worked for someone else almost assuredly will not work for you.
Yeah.
Hal Moore, he was the lieutenant colonel, the first people that went to Vietnam. He had 17 rules, and one of his rules was study the people that have come before you and done these things. He'd studied, generals and he said, but look what consistently doesn't work.
Yeah.
Because these are the things you need to avoid. There's not, if I try and emulate Steve Jobs, I'm not going to become a billionaire.
Yeah.
But if I look at all these businesses or things that people do and their business fails and it goes, okay, I'm going to avoid that.
Yeah.
That is a much better way to learn from others. You're not going to be able to copy their successes. You have different circumstances, but look at what pitfalls others fall into and avoid those.
Yep. Last thing on the value of continuous learning is to apply that new knowledge quickly.
Yeah.
And like Kenneth said, see what works in your specific context.
Yep. And I'm going to note here, try and turn one knob at a time.
Yeah.
When we work with a business and we're trying to diagnose an issue, if I change 5 things at once and it gets better, I may have made it actually kind of worse on 4 knobs, but
yes.
I made it better than all those on one knob. If I just turn one, I can go, okay, that makes it better. All right, we'll calibrate that one and the next one, and you fine tune. Don't change 50 things at once.
Right, one problem at a time.
Yep.
Okay, so a quick win for today's episode is to identify your current stage and write 3 matching strategies for that. So you can use what's on the website to figure out the stage and look for some strategies that can help you through that onto the next one, and then share that with someone. a mentor, advisor, consultant, coach, business partner. If you don't have any of those, look into getting them. There's something on the website to help you with that. But share it with someone. Let somebody in your life know how you're doing, where you're at.
It will alter the way you look at it, because you will feel less isolated. If you're keeping it all inside right now, you can be surrounded by people that love you, and you can feel alone.
Yeah.
So you don't want to be there. That's, depression.
Yeah.
And it's so easy to get into these bad mental places as a business, just as a human being.
Right.
But
as a
business owner, you just added a lot more stress and problems.
Or high stress roles.
Yeah.
Even if you don't own the business, if you're in the business and there's a lot of pressure on you.
Yeah.
So the quick win for this episode is to identify your current stage, where you are currently at, write down 3 matching strategies, and share that with somebody.
Yep.
Right? It can be a mentor or an advisor or a consultant or a coach or peer or anything. If you don't have one of those, there's a page on the website to help you figure out which one you need and how to find that person. But at least share it with somebody.
Yes.
A spouse, a friend, somebody. Do not do it alone.
No.
Okay, so at the end of every episode in this mental health series, we'll have a reflection question. And our reflection question for this one is, where is my mindset out of sync with my business stage? So where am I disconnected? Am I thinking that I'm doing better?
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's be more realistic. Let's rein that back in so we can get ahead of some problems. Or am I thinking that I'm doing a lot worse than I am?
Right.
And let's find some ways to help our mental health in those areas.
And you'll talk about that later with your evidence.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. We'll learn about how to build evidence files. Well, our next episode is a deep dive into the most common challenges, imposter syndrome, and fear of failure. We'll tell you how to recognize it and give you some practical strategies to overcome it. So for this episode, we want you guys to download the business stage self-assessment worksheet. And we want to let you know that we've walked through this.
Yeah.
With many clients, we've walked through these things ourselves, and awareness changes everything.
Yeah.
If you know where you are, you can evaluate your stress level, your decisions, come up with a new strategy. The goal isn't to hustle. It's to build a business that enhances your life, right?
Right. You probably didn't leave your career or start this side hustle because you said, I want to work 80 hours a week for the rest of my life. That's probably not the goal you had in mind. So early on, that may be what it is. But if your business needs to be moving towards what your goal,
want in your life, yeah.
Yeah. And if it's not, then you need to take a step back and you need to look at things, and we need to see how you need to tweak that and change that. But again, if any part of your business that isn't guided will wander off in its own direction. Yeah. And there's 99 bad directions it can go and one good one. So just make sure you're paying attention.
Yes.
We know running a business is tough, but you don't have to do it alone. You can go to www.havensconsulting.com, and we've got free resources out there for you. Courtney spent months and months putting together a great collection of resources. Now at this point, going to have some, I think, the best ones coming out here during this mental health series, but there's tons of tools out there. Go check it out. They're free. You don't have to put your email in and to sign up for a newsletter. They're just PDFs out there you can download. Just look for the podcast and look for those podcast resources. And again, all those episodes are out there. So if you want kind of a guide through the guide, just listen to the corresponding episode, and we'll help you through it. And if you need some more help, please shoot us an email at info@havensconsulting.com or give us a call.
And if you got value today, please subscribe so that you don't miss our upcoming episodes. I think that you're really going to love them.
And hit that bell. Gotta get that alert.
Share with someone that might benefit from this, whether they're a business owner in a high stress role or just maybe dealing with these things just because. If you liked, and only if you liked it, please review. It really helps us to reach other business owners, and you can connect with us on social media at Havens Business Services.